Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, welcome. So, today's topic, we are talking about the 1839 short story, The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes. So this is our second Poe short story for the podcast.
Yes, and as you know, I'm a big Poe fan, and this kind of came up because the show, The Fall of the House of Usher, which loosely follows the short story. It's really more of kind of a lot of different Poe stories put together. But it came out recently, and it made me think, oh, I've actually never read The Fall of the House of Usher.
Me either. This was not one that was assigned to me in school, so...
Yeah, I feel like I knew a little bit about it, but I never read it start to finish, so there you go.
Oh, see, I didn't. I had heard the name, but I didn't know, anything about it. I knew, The Ravens, the famous one,
Yeah.
Cask of Amontillado that we'd read, The Pit and the Pendulum, The Telltale Heart, but didn't know anything about this one.
Yeah, well, this is a good one. Well, I mean, I like all of Poe's short stories, and I like that they're short, honestly, so,
Well, yes.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I didn't really care for this one.
Yeah, I just said I liked it, but it was not as plot driven, I feel like, as some other ones.
Yeah.
And not really as creepy. Like, it had the creepy feeling, but not like super gory, or, you know what I mean? Like, throughout the whole thing. It was more of a slow build up kind of thing.
Yeah, and the ending, there was no, the other one we've read for the podcast, Cask of Amontillado, where that ends and it's, a very, gruesome death. It's not described in detail, but being, entombed,
yes.
in a vault like that is very, that's a compelling image.
Yes.
This one was just kind of oh, that's... when I read it, I was like, oh, that's where we're going with this. Because, when I was, reading this, I was like, okay, so this is going to be, a haunted house story, right? Or,
I thought that's
you
what
think
it was
it's haunted,
too.
but it's maybe not actually haunted. But
it's
no,
more
it's
atmospheric.
Totally
yeah, it's the buildup of the atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. I mean, still a good story, I think. I always enjoy, Poe's style of writing. So I like that part. And, I mean, you could still kind of feel the creepiness of it, but it wasn't like the other stories that I've read where it's a real compelling, creepiness, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't know. I don't really like this one. Because you mentioned the plot, it's not very plot heavy. A lot of the plot of the story is the narrator hanging out with his weird friend, and that's it.
Exactly.
It's we hung out and did this thing. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of not climatic, I guess.
Yeah, I also didn't like the narrator's style.
Yeah,
where he frequently goes on these long descriptions of things, and then also sometimes will be like, oh, well, I couldn't possibly hope to describe this thing that happened.
Yeah.
Does that multiple times.
That's very true. I forgot about that. You're right. I forgot about that.
The narrator's kind of a weird dude, too, just in a different way.
Well, who goes, he's his old friend, writes to him and is please come to my house, basically. And he's so I rode my horse over there, and, he's describing, this creepiness for, days that he's staying at this house. And I'm like, dude, you could leave. You don't have to stay.
That's
so
what
it's just,
nobles do,
very,
I guess.
very odd, yeah. But, I just, I don't know. I like the kind of mystery that surrounds the house and the characters, but I found that, so it involves the not the narrator, but the other character's twin sister, and it's you don't find out really till deep into it that it's actually his twin sister, and they're very similar. I feel like the twin sister's kind of this secondary character that's not really well described,
Yeah.
It's I feel like it could have been creepier if they described the twin sister, and then at the end when it's gets more creepy, you have more of a I don't know, more of an idea of like how she would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I kind of like the one thing of this is the fall of the House of Usher, and it means both the house is in the
Mm-hmm.
literal place, and the house is in the, like, noble family, and how those
Yes.
two were, like, intertwined in the story.
Yeah, I do like that. I enjoy that. And yeah, this was, I could see how the show like picks out some of these characteristics from the story. But I mean, the whole show is like modern day. It's not at all like this.
Ah, okay.
So I thought there would be, I was eager to see what the similarities were because I watched the show and then I read this, so I thought like there would be more similarities, but I like the way the show did it, but not at all like the story. So I mean, it pulled some characteristics, but like I said, it's more of a modern day kind of thing. So I was eager to read this, and I think when I did, I was like, I mean, I liked it. It was good, but it wasn't as good as other ones.
Ah, yeah. I don't know anything about the show other than that it exists, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly new. I think it just came out,
Yeah.
some weeks ago. So, but I think it is funny, like you said, how the narrator just describes everything and like is kind of like real creeped out, but
Yeah.
like, and then like, this mysterious sickness that the sister has. It's like, that whole thing is just like so weird.
Well, it was the 1800s.
Yeah, it was the 1800s. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, do you want to go into a synopsis?
Yeah, I'll do the plot synopsis.
Okay.
So, our narrator, who does not have a name, has been invited via letter to his old childhood friend's house. He says, I'm in poor health, so, when we spend the beginning, like, he's going up to this house, there's a lake, and he's like, this house is really creepy, just, like, awful air about it. It's just, it's, like, kind of dilapidated. There's this, like, small crack that goes all the way through it. The whole thing's just kind of, like, it's got bad vibes.
Yeah.
And he's constantly talking about that, like he goes in and it's like gloomy, the furniture's all old and like not comforting at all. And he meets with his friend who's sick and like acts weird. He's got, he looks really pale and he's talking about all of his problems and like how, like his senses, he can't handle certain sounds or tastes or smells or whatever. And during this initial conversation, his sister walks by who's also sick. That's part of his like why he's having like issues is his sister's not doing well either. And she walks by and like the manner she did that, like not paying attention to us, was kind of creepy too. And then apparently dies. Says like the narrator says like yeah, and apparently after that she was no longer of this earth. And then we like move into a long section. He talks about like what they're doing there, and they're like doing music or painting or reading weird books, stuff like that. The paintings are described as like very eerie and dreary. It's like he's capturing that mood very well. And he like sings a song about how his like family used to be all noble and rich and whatever, and it fell apart. And then we move to his sister being interned. It's been like 2 weeks since she had died, and they decide, okay, we need to intern her in the family tomb, so they do that. It's a whole ordeal. That's when it's revealed that they're twins. And then, yeah, they're hanging out more at the house, and then he's like, eventually the house started getting to me. I was all like freaked out by it. So, it culminates in one night where he can't sleep because the house is just all like bothering him, and there's like a terrible storm outside. And his friends also still awake, so they're like hanging out, acting weird and having insomnia.
And so I don't know if you're getting into this, but like, so the house was like surrounded by like this bright looking gas.
Yeah.
And and Roderick like is all like freaked out, and the friend's trying to be like, hey, it's natural, it's all cool.
Yeah, he's trying to calm him down, so he's like, here, I'm gonna read a book. So he picks up a book and he starts reading it, and it's a very like strange thing where he swears he hears the noises that are like described in the book. This is like a fantasy story about some knight like opening, like slamming on a door and slaying a dragon and stuff like that. And then he like eventually like goes up to his friend. He's like, "Did you hear all this?" And he's like, "Yes. It's my sister. She's breaking out of the tomb. She wasn't actually dead."
Yeah.
And then so she does, and she comes up, and this ends up killing Roderick, um, Mr. Usher. And so the narrator's like, "Okay, I'm getting out of there." He runs off, and like during the storm, he sees what appears to be lightning strike the house, and it hits the crack that was described in the beginning, which causes the house to entirely fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
Yeah. So I do like the descriptions in the story, and you know the dreariness, the mysterious illness, like you know the kind of real creepy vibes. And like you said, I like how the house is described as both the physical structure and the family. But it's just like, I don't know, the weather, the landscape, like all of the hauntedness of the space. Like, I think it's kind of like real creepy, and I like that part of it. So, you know, I like that all of these stories have like that air of creepiness that, you know, I don't know why, but for some reason I'm like, I'm always like in the 1830s when this was like published in like little newspapers and stuff, like how popular it was and all that. I guess like everybody likes a good mystery, but I just think that's really interesting. And the whole thing with the twin sister, I think, you know, I always like twin stuff. But I like how nonchalant Roderick was, and he's like, I mean, he's scared, but like, he's like, "Oh yeah, that noise, that's just my sister escaping because we entombed her while she was alive. Like, no big deal." Like, why did he say something and then why didn't he go help her out? Like, I don't understand that.
Well, the thing that got me, because like once I got to that, it's like, oh, that's where this is going, because
Yeah.
the narrator sees her and like comments that she looks dead, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and I was like, oh, okay. I figured the narrator would have said something if she was still alive, but nope.
Yeah, I think that's so creepy. And like, the fact that like Roderick was like, "Yeah, we're gonna like temporarily like bury her like in this tomb in the house," because he was afraid like the doctors would want to examine the body because her illness was so mysterious. Like
Yeah.
they didn't know what it was. And he's like, "No, they're gonna like want to use her body for science. Like we have to keep her here for a set number of days." And you're like, what? Like, is that normal back then? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me just entomb a family member in the house. Yeah, I was just kind of like, that's so creepy. Like, like, let me just take care of this body real quick. But I guess things were done different in the 1800s.
Well, the narrator does mark that it's like a bit weird.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had no desire to oppose what I regarded at best but a harmless and by no means an unnatural precaution.
Okay.
Like so, it's a bit strange, but not something that's like so out of the norm, I guess, that you'd.
But
Like...
I like how he just goes with it. Like, okay, I'll help you carry the body
Yeah.
into this tomb. Yeah.
And also the part where Usher says, "Yeah, I think this house is sentient because of like all the like fungal and plant material like throughout the like in the structure."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so this is gonna be a ghost story, right? Like,
Right.
he thinks it's sentient because there's ghosts about, but no.
Right.
And, you know, the constantly, like, pounded on in the story, the narrator's like, this house is weird. It's foreboding, it's creepy, it's eerie, it has an awful atmosphere about it. Just constantly, like,
Right.
this house is bad, and then it starts getting to him at the end, and I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be, like, either a ghost story or a story where, like, it was maybe ghost, or maybe the house was just, like, awful to live in, so you just kind of start, like, losing it.
Yeah. I thought for sure it was going to be Ghost. Yeah. And I guess in a way it was. It's just, yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, that was creepy. But one other notable thing is, like, so I was reading, like, I guess, like, a synopsis before I read the story. And it was, like, because I was like, I don't really remember like what the story is about, you know. Anyway, and one of the things that stood out was like it said that the twins, so Roderick and Madeline, or Madeline, I don't know how you say it, were so alike in their identity, and but that like Roderick had like the intellect, and but Madeline was like stronger. I don't remember them going into that in the story.
No, they don't.
So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
kind of like,
weird.
where did they get this? Like, I don't know if it's because Roderick had that fear and he was like real scared, and Madeline like physically dug herself out of her too, you know,
Yeah,
like
I guess
escaped
so.
her
Yeah, inferred
nailed
from that.
shut coffin. Yeah, like I was kind of like, where? I guess that would be kind of superhuman of her, right? Like they talked about nailing the coffin shut or whatever, and she like escaped and was all bloodied when she got out because she was like fighting her way out, whereas Roderick was like scared to death and basically died of fear. So I guess I get that, but I was kind of like, where did they get like he has the intellect and she has like this super strength? Like where'd I didn't get that part.
I mean, I guess he's always reading books and painting and playing
Oh
music and
yeah,
stuff.
doing artsy, yeah,
I
maybe
feel like
so,
that's
but
just eccentric, noble things, you know?
yeah, I agree. Like when you have free time and not having to
Yeah, in the
work for a
1800s.
living.
Well, yeah, plus that's gotta be part of their, like, education. It's like you're reading all the
Yes,
time and painting
correct.
and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So maybe that's where they get the intellect, and her strength is obviously when she claws her way out of her tomb. So that's interesting. So was it clear that like she really was alive, or was this like a ghost of her?
I think she was alive. I don't think there's a ghost here.
Yeah, because I don't think like a ghost can kill someone, and she ends up killing Roderick. So
Well, does she kill him, or is he just, like, get literally
he's
scared to
just
death?
scared to death. Well, yeah, either way.
Because, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think it's, I don't know that that's clear.
Yeah. Not super clear. Either way, he dies.
Yep,
And your boy,
they
the
both die.
narrator, takes off and is like, yeah, I'm done
Yeah.
here. Like he should have been done when he was like burying a body in the house tomb. That's when you like take off like, well, I'm going to get going. You know? But yeah, the other thing I don't understand is like they have servants, right? Like they mentioned it's a mansion,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like this semi noble family, whatever. Because they mentioned at the beginning, like the narrator rides up on his horse and like he hands his horse to the servant to tend to. So, like, why wouldn't they have like the servants, like, hey, go take care of that body?
I feel like that's the kind of thing you want to do yourself.
Maybe so. I mean, I don't know. So I just think it's interesting that like most of the things I was reading was like about the twins and their relationship. And I'm like, I felt like it didn't really get into that in the story.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. That's like anything that would be there's maybe implied, but even then, I don't think it's like, you know,
Yeah.
at best you get that he's upset that his sister's doing worse, like getting worse off.
Yeah. Kind of like that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the moral of the story is if you see a creepy house, don't go to it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. I do like the narrator's descriptions of the house. Like I think it does a good job of being, you know, really kind of making you picture this like kind of crumbling mansion and like reflected in the water and
Yeah.
the creepiness of the weather and you know, like
All
I
the
like that
furniture
kind of stuff.
sucks
Right. Like everything's creaky and
and old,
dark
and
and
yeah.
yeah, I like that part, but yeah. That's really it. So overall, like, you know, I didn't mind it, but I really thought it was gonna go someplace else, as you
Yeah, me
said.
too. And yeah, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought the ending was kind of weak, like
Yeah.
I said prior.
Yeah, I felt like it kind of ended in a hurry, like, you know, the narrator takes off and that's it.
Well, plus, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think the, like, sister coming back and then them both dying and the house crumbling is, like, I don't know. Like, especially as far as Poe goes, you know, like I
Yeah.
mentioned, contrasting it with Cask of Amontillado, I feel like, you know, he has some stronger endings. Like, it's been years since I've read Telltale Heart, but like I feel like that's like a really solid ending.
Oh yeah, because you have that creepiness of like the haunting,
Yeah.
of it afterward, and I feel like this haunting was more, like the sister was just breaking out of her tomb. It wasn't like a real haunting. It was just like one night of kind of terror and hearing
Yeah.
those noises, and then they die and the house crumbles, and like you don't have that like after where you could still hear the heartbeat, or you can
Yeah.
still hear the jester's bells and in the cask of Amontillado, but yeah, you don't have that like after effect, I think. But I guess this story would haunt the narrator
I
because he
suppose
sure
so.
took off in a hurry. But yeah, you don't have that kind of like real creepy feeling leaving the story.
No.
Yeah. So, any other notes?
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to a weird house with a weird dude who buries his sister alive.
Yeah,
Happens, I
exactly.
guess.
I mean, sometimes you get caught up in like having to bury a body in a house tomb. So do what you gotta do and then you get out of there. There you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's everything on this story.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
so I mean, it's alright.
Yeah, let's get into our next topic then.
Okay. Next topic, we're talking about holiday meals.
Yes. So, this came about because, Christmas is coming up, so you can talk about eating Christmas dinner, which is a thing. And I was like, there's no, like, Halloween dinner or anything. Like, there's some, like, vaguely fall Halloween related foods, and there's candy, of course, but there's not, like, on Halloween you eat this, like, specific meal. And I
Right.
kind of extrapolated, like, well, there's, like, what, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then you don't really have other holiday meals? Like,
Yeah, and
as a
I
set
kind of talked
thing?
about, yeah, like Easter, you do kind of have, I guess in some families they have like a set meal. Like I think lamb is a
Ah,
big
okay.
thing for Easter. I mean we don't follow that, but there's not like you know, Halloween you have candy, but you don't have any kind of like thing to set off the holiday. So I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I've mentioned before. And I was like, yeah, I think it would be really cool if there was like a thing that you did on Halloween, like some kind of cool treat. And I feel like for Halloween, it should be like an appetizer type of thing because you're
Yeah,
eating
that
candy
makes
all
sense,
night.
yeah. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I don't know, something pumpkin-y.
Yeah, pumpkin dessert. I can get down with that.
Yeah.
There's fall things, like
Yeah,
obviously,
what you eat
you think of
during
like,
that period,
yeah, yeah, like, and I particularly love like the fall menu at my neighborhood coffee shop. Like, like I love the like fall drinks or the winter holiday drinks. Like, I love that kind of stuff. But like Halloween itself doesn't have like a, sufficiently creepy meal or drink that you should eat
Yeah.
or drink. Yeah. So that's a problem. I think we need to come up with something. But honestly, I don't like holiday meals, so I don't know why I'm advocating for a Halloween meal.
Oh, really, huh? Well, I mean, you could do something, because I feel like, you go, like, there's a very, like, Thanksgiving, like, obviously it depends on, like, the, like, family and certain, like, I know some immigrant, like, communities have different, things for this, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
very set, like, type of meal, and it's a very, like, specific thing, and if you don't like that, you just kind of don't like the holiday, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of the Thanksgiving holiday. But it's my husband's favorite holiday because he loves the food.
Ah, yes.
And yeah, and I mean, I don't care for it. I think it's like all heavy stuff. And the fact that like Thanksgiving meal and Christmas meal are like very similar. Like you
Yeah,
just
that's
ate that
true.
whole meal a month ago and now you're going to eat it again. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I'm just not here for it. I propose like a different, like I think we should like switch the theme every year for holiday meals.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
just
sense.
me.
Oh yeah, one I forgot to mention. The 4th of July also has like a set meal you eat with it.
Yeah, like kind of barbecue, like
Yeah,
hamburgers,
hot
hot
dogs,
dogs type of
hamburger, yeah, that
thing.
sort of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's like what everybody eats on the 4th of July.
But yeah, the other holidays don't really have meals as much.
They're like afterthoughts.
Yeah, like Valentine's Day has like you're supposed to like take your love interest to dinner, but that's not like a, like specific
Yeah.
thing, I guess chocolate
And
in a heart
chocolate,
shape
yeah.
somehow, but
Which is
I don't think
silly.
that counts.
Yeah.
That's not a meal.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Yeah. But we definitely need, yeah, you're right. Like Halloween is only candy. There's nothing else. Like we need to come up with something and make it a tradition.
Toast. I don't know how that's Halloweeny, but
Yeah, I don't know. But what other holidays? I mean, New Year's. Okay, so I was talking about New Year's, and I think this is a Southern thing. I'm not really sure, but like the tradition on New Year's Day is for like to get the family together, and you do collard greens and black eyed peas. And that's supposed to symbolize like, blessings of money to come your way, like in good luck for the new year. So I think that's really interesting. I do not like that meal choice for New Year's Day, but I have certainly been invited to like houses to eat that meal on New Year's Day, and I don't like it at all. But I think it's like kind of a neat tradition. And I was talking about it, and you were like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." So
yeah.
that's why I was kind of thinking, like, maybe it's just like a Southern or like real Southern, like in my area
No,
thing. I don't
apparently
really know.
it goes up to like North Carolina, so should like I guess
Okay.
I've just never heard of it. Like we've never done it, so
I feel
that's a
like your
whole
parents
southern
would
thing.
know. Like, yeah, like
We've
people
never
their
done it,
age
so
would know. Yeah. And again, I just don't like it. So like I don't participate in it, but I do think it's kind of cool that there is like a meal that you eat for New Year's, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, of all the like, that sounds better than like a Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
But I like black eyed peas, so
Oh, see, I don't like either. Like I can eat greens if only like if certain people make them really good with like
yeah, that's true.
delicious flavors, but I still can't eat a lot of them. Like I can eat a couple bites and that's it. It's like a texture thing. But that's definitely like a tradition. So, we need something like that for different holidays. I mean, Labor Day, what do you do for that? Memorial Day? Absolutely nothing.
Well, those also aren't like big holidays. It's like
Yeah,
you
I
might
guess.
get the day off of work, but that's not like like we do celebrations in this country for the 4th of July or for,
Yeah, yeah.
Thanksgiving
So
and
I guess
Halloween, but like, those aren't the same
I guess when
here.
there's a holiday marked by celebration, there needs to be something. So I'm trying to think what else would be like a cool holiday thing, but I mean that's really the major ones. I know in like Italy and some Italian families here, they do for Easter they make a lamb cake, like a cake that looks like a lamb, and I forget what it's called. But that's a tradition, which I think is kind of cool. I think that would be hard to do personally. And then like for Christmas, I know some cultures do a what is it? I think it's called like a bûche de Noël, which is like that kind of cake that looks like a log. It's kind of like it almost looks like a giant Swiss cake roll, and it's supposed to look like a Christmas log.
Huh.
So that's also an interesting tradition. And let's see. I feel like New Year's has other traditions.
Well, I feel like New Year's is like you go to a party on New Year's Eve and like
Yeah.
that's not really a meal so much as it is you drink.
Yeah. However, I do really love, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, like the Le Réveillon tradition of it can either be Christmas Eve night or New Year's Eve, where you do like a 5-course meal, and it's called Le Réveillon. We do that in New Orleans.
I can tell because it's French.
Yeah. You typically go to a restaurant for that. But I've always wanted to do that at a restaurant, and I've never have because a lot of the prefix menus are seafood, and I don't eat seafood.
Oh,
so
right,
I'm
yeah.
like, and you can't do substitutions on a prefix menu. So I'm like,
Move somewhere that's not right next to the sea. I don't know what to tell you.
I know it's so difficult. I wish I liked seafood, but I really want to do. I said we're gonna do our own La Revillon at a Mexican restaurant this
Ah,
New
yeah,
Year's
yeah.
Eve. So I was like, we'll get like queso dip. Will be our first course. Like we'll kind of do our own non-traditional Le Réveillon. But I really love that tradition just because I really like food. So
Okay, here's a bad
yeah.
idea for you. Le
Uh
Réveillon for fast food restaurants. You go to five
oh.
different fast food restaurants.
That's not a bad idea. So I have before, actually when I was up by you for New Year's, like where we got like maybe three different appetizers from three different restaurants.
Oh, I said fast food, not a restaurant. You're going to
Oh, not
McDonald's.
restaurant. Okay. McDonald's fries. Yeah.
Well, what
We'd
five
have
are
to
you
figure that one
picking?
out. Oh my gosh, it's so hard because I don't really like fast food too much.
Yeah, I know. That's the point.
Okay, maybe like nuggets from Chick-fil-A, McDonald's fries, a Frosty from Wendy's. Oh, that's really hard. Maybe
Nothing
like a
from like a
taco
Taco
from
Bell.
Chipotle. Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah. Oh, Taco Bell. I feel like you could do the nachos Bel Grande.
Yeah, something.
Like a nice little kind of appetizer-y kind of meal. I don't know. That's tough. A burger from Five Guys.
Uh,
I don't know. That's too much food, though.
yeah, well, yeah, that's why it's fast food. It's bad. Well, five
I
courses
feel
is
like your
like a lot of
stomach
food
would hurt.
anyways.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be really kind of tough to do. But that would be funny,
Yeah.
actually. I feel like it'd be a lot of work, though.
Yeah, well, if you get smaller things like a small fries, like you mentioned a
And you split
milkshake,
it, like,
that
yeah,
you
you
get a
split
small
everything.
milkshake, you can do that.
Do like a kid size.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, I think okay, so Halloween, I feel like there are Halloween themed foods that people make for like Halloween parties, but it's not like a set like this is what you eat on Halloween.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to come up with that.
I think maybe like some normal food, but you like put a little like jack-o'-lantern face on it.
Oh,
Like
there you
spooky
go.
face on like I don't know.
That's kind of, but
What can you
that's
put a
kind
face
of what
on?
people do for Halloween parties.
Yeah, but
I don't
you
know.
make a cake that's kind
Have
of
you seen the
spooky.
like? Yeah, exactly. Like like a pumpkin cake, or like have you seen where people do like the charcuterie boards, but they use like the meat as like they might do like prosciutto over like a skeleton face, so it looks like that's your muscle and tissue,
Oh, huh.
like real creepy. So
This sounds like
maybe
a
something
fun
like that.
activity for an anatomy class.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. That's definitely a good idea. I love that. Make foods in the shape of your organs or tissues or muscles. Love that. Yeah, prosciutto lends itself well to that kind of thing. Yeah, and I've seen like that kind of stuff. Or like one year I tried to make these like monster looking cupcakes for this like kids event Halloween thing, and it came out really terribly. It was definitely like a Pinterest fail, but cupcakes are always a good thing.
Yeah, but you can get cupcakes for any like holiday. You just put in the holiday colors. You
Yeah.
get like some red and green ones for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like some orange and black ones for Halloween. Some pink ones for
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. Some green ones for
I
St.
just think
Patrick's
like,
Day.
well, like, but we're talking like a meal. Like, Thanksgiving meal is kind of like a set
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
Like, what would be something you could do for, you know,
I don't
the
know.
big one,
That's
Halloween?
anything
Not
related to
turkey. I'm so
pumpkins, right?
tired of
Yeah.
turkey. I am going to advocate for like pumpkin scones, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe other types of like squashes and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like that's like fall though, Like
Yeah, that's true. But those are
it's
related
not
to
necessarily
pumpkins.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I guess like I don't know how a turkey is related to Christmas, so that's what you
Yeah,
do.
well, yeah, and ham or ham.
Yeah, and ham. Yeah, Christmas ham.
It's just
Yeah, which
it's just
I
like
don't really like either.
very common types of meat. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be hard for like vegetarians and vegans on Christmas.
Well, you can do like fake
meals.
like meat replacement, or just make anything. Christmas is less set than Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
you kind of just get food. Like it's the thing about like because Chinese food places are often open on Christmas, so you just like get
Yes.
Chinese food if you're being lazy,
Yeah. I like that.
and that's a Christmas meal.
I love that. Christmas meal. Yeah, I also have a friend who's gluten-free, and she has a hard time with like holiday food. Well, especially when you're going to like your family's house and like they don't really,
they're not taking food prep seriously. There's gluten getting everywhere.
Everywhere. So it's like she cannot really eat anything because she has like a really severe allergy. And so I'm like, what do you even eat? Like, what do you even do in that situation? You just have to bring your own food and that's all you eat. So just kind of sad, but I mean, and so for Halloween, my tradition is I always do hot chocolate on Halloween, but that's just me.
And I feel like hot chocolate's a fall and winter thing in general.
It definitely is. Yeah, it is. But I have really been enjoying these holiday drinks, so much so that I've had to limit myself, where I'm like, okay, I'm only doing one a week now. I was doing it like every couple of days, and I'm like, no, stop.
I feel like our holidays are like, we need new ones. They gotta rotate them out every like decade or so.
Yeah.
Just to keep things fresh,
I agree. Like, it's really funny because I'm not real big on holidays, but I do like traditions, so that's kind of, at odds. Because I like, like I said, every Halloween I watch a scary movie, I hand out candy to trick-or-treaters, and I drink hot chocolate. And that's like my Halloween routine, and I really enjoy it. But, I mean, I used to like go out on Halloween when I was younger, but I'm not into that anymore because it's always cold now. But
I was probably cold
when you're younger,
before.
You don't care. It was, but you don't care. You're like wearing like, like short sleeves and it's freezing outside and you don't even care.
I think maybe the alcohol might have something to do with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably true. Not that I condone that, but
you might care less about the cold when you
absolutely. And now I value comfort at all costs.
Don't want to get a hangover. Yeah.
Yes, if it's too cold, like I am not going outside. Like I will stay inside, which is why I'm like super pale now in the winter. But I digress.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, okay, we really need to get behind. First of all, changing up the holidays, doing some different meals, and also setting a holiday menu for Halloween.
Yeah. So I don't think we came up with any good ideas here. Just kind of rambled about it.
Rambled on about it. I mean, that's what we do. So this podcast is about all sorts of things and stuff. So
I don't know. What about like diner food for Halloween? Does that fit?
I mean, I feel like you could do it.
You eat like some eggs and like a sausage or a waffle or something.
Maybe let's make it a Waffle House Halloween. I mean, chocolate chip waffles.
Yeah, I feel like Waffle House supports the Halloween energy.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Let's do it. Waffle House will thank us later. Yeah.
We should have a diner holiday, like a day for going to diners.
I feel like that would be, I feel like that would be like, I don't know, Labor Day seems like a good day for that.
Making your own diner food,
Yeah. Oh, we could do that. Do we really have a breakfast holiday? Is there a big breakfast?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Where you get together for breakfast? I feel like that should be a thing for sure.
Valentine's Day, maybe?
No, they don't do breakfast.
Brunch, though? You could do, like,
Yeah.
You might, like, make breakfast for your spouse. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like we need a breakfast holiday.
Yeah, so diner holiday, a breakfast holiday. Although now that I say diner holiday, I think like, maybe St. Patrick's Day or like 3 a.m. the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, I like that. I like that idea.
Because, I mean, that's what you do after you spend the night out drinking, because that's what's open.
Yeah, exactly. But Yeah.
Oh, New Year's Day? That's a diner holiday, obviously.
New
You got a
Year's
drunk drive to
Day.
the Waffle House, the
No!
Denny's, your local diner.
You don't drunk
I mean,
drive.
I don't drunk drive, but people do.
People do. That's why I don't like being on the
Yeah,
road on New
yeah, New
Year's.
Year's is the drunk driving
Or the morning
holiday.
after. Yeah, it's terrible. You should not drink and drive. Yeah, but I feel like there should be a day where you gather with your family and friends and eat breakfast.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's do it. I guess that's kind of Christmas. You do kind of do that
Yeah,
on
that's
Christmas.
true.
But
Yeah, like any holiday where you, like, meet up with people, like Thanksgiving or
yeah,
Christmas.
you're like staying at people's houses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe 4th of July, you know.
I could get down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, well, there you go. We have some great ideas.
Yeah, it mostly seem to be breakfast.
Mostly just we want food. Like,
I don't know. I think, like, you know, it's kind of interesting, like, which holidays form, like, which, like, sort of rituals. Like, you know, a lot of them don't have, like, food related with them necessarily, but some do. So,
yeah,
kind of interesting,
yeah.
I guess.
It is interesting. I like it.
Yeah. Rambling, digressions
Yeah.
aside.
Exactly. Well, do you have anything else to add about holiday food?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, we've exhausted the topic. So, all right. Well, this has been Beach View. Again, our podcast about all sorts of things and stuff. Join us next time. Bye.
Bye.